Hey everybody! Today I'm going to delve right into our teen tidbits for our Triple Play Thursday. I'm going to read to you the first 3 pages of just 2 novels this time. I'm going to start with Instant Karma by Marissa Meyer, and this is a romantic comedy. Chronic overachiever Prudence Daniels is always quick to cast judgment on the lazy, rude, and arrogant residents of her coastal town. Her dreams of karmic justice are fulfilled when, after a night out with her friends, she wakes up with the sudden ability to cast instant karma on those around her. Chapter 1. Quint Erickson is late. Again. I shouldn't be surprised. I'm not surprised. I'd be more surprised if he was actually on time for once. But really, today, of all days? I'm simmering in my seat, my fingers drumming against the presentation board that's folded up on our lab table. My attention is divided between watching the clock over the classroom door and silently repeating the words I've been memorizing all week. Our beaches and coastal waters are home to some remarkable species, fish and mammals and sea turtles and sharks, says Maya Livingstone from the front of the room, have been severely mistreated by Hollywood over the decades. They are not the monsters that humans have made them out to be. Plus, adds her lab partner Ezra Kent, who's eating who here? I mean, did you guys know people actually eat shark? Maya glances at him frowning, mostly just their fins to be clear. Right, they make soup out of them, says Ezra. Shark fin soup is like a super delicacy because they're like chewy and crunchy at the same time. Wrap your head around that. But I mean, I would totally try it. Some of our peers pretend to gag in disgust, even though it's obvious Ezra is trying to get this exact reaction. Most people call him easy, which I used to think might be a reference to numerous sexual escapades, but now I think it's just because he has a reputation for being a jokester. Teachers at our school have learned not to seat him and Quint together. Anyway, says Maya, trying to bring their talk back on point, she goes on about the horrible methods by which hunters catch the sharks and cut off their fins, then release them back into the water. Without their fins, they sink to the bottom of the ocean and either suffocate or get eaten alive by other predators. The whole class grimaces. And then they turn them into soup, Ezra adds, just in case anyone missed that part before. Another minute goes by. I bite down on the inside of my cheek, trying to calm the nerves twisting inside of me. The same frustrated rant begins to repeat in my head for the 8 millionth time this year. Quint Erickson is the worst. I even reminded him yesterday. Remember, Quint, big presentation tomorrow. You're bringing the report. You're supposed to help me with the introduction. So please, for the love of all things good and righteous in this world, this one time, don't be late. His response? A shrug. I'm a busy guy, Prudence, but I'll do my best. Right, because he has so much to do before 8:30 a.m. on a Tuesday. I know I can handle the introduction on my own. I've been rehearsing without him after all, but he's supposed to bring our papers. The papers that the rest of the class can then stare at while we talk. The papers that will keep their bored, disinterested eyes off me. The class starts to applaud half-heartedly, and I snap back to attention. I bring my hands together for 1, 2 claps before dropping them to the table. Myra and Ezra gather up their presentation board. I glance at Jude in the first row, and though I can only see the back of his head, I know his gaze hasn't left Maya since she stood up and won't leave her until she's sitting back down, and he has no choice but to either look away or risk drawing attention to the staring. I love my brother dearly, but his crush on Maya Livingstone has been well documented since the 5th grade and, if I'm being honest, has started to seem a little bit helpless. He has my sympathy, he really does. She is Maya Livingstone, after all. Pretty much the whole sophomore class has a crush on her, but I also know my brother. He will never have the guts to actually ask her out. Hence, hopeless. Poor guy. But back to poor me. Maya and Ezra are dropping into their seats, and there's still no sign of Quint. No sign of the papers that he was supposed to bring with him. In an act of desperation, I fish my red lipstick from my bag and quickly apply a new layer just in case it started to wear off since I put it on before class. I don't like to wear a lot of makeup, but a bold lipstick is an instant boost to my confidence. It's my armor, my weapon. You can do this, I tell myself. You don't need Quint. My heart has started to warble inside my chest. My breaths are quickening. I tuck the tube back into my bag and snatch up my index cards. I don't think I'll need them. I've practiced so many times. I talk about habitats and environmentalism in my sleep. But having them with me will help calm my jittery nerves. At least I think they will. I hope they will. Until I have the sudden fear that my sweating palms might make the ink bleed, rendering it unreadable, and my nerves kick up into high gear again. That brings us to our last presentation of the year, said Mr. Chavez, giving me a look that's almost sympathetic. Sorry, Prudence, we've delayed as long as we can. Maybe Quint will join us before you've finished. I force a smile. It's fine. I plan on doing most of the talking anyway. It is so not fine, but nothing can be done about it now. I stand up slowly, tuck the notes into my pocket, and pick up the presentation board and the tote bag I brought full of bonus materials. My hands are shaking. I pause just long enough to fully exhale, to squeeze my eyes tight, to repeat the refrain that I always tell myself when I have to speak or perform in front of people. It's just 10 minutes of your life, Prudence, and then it will be over and you can move on. Just 10 minutes. You can do this. Instant Karma by Marissa Meyer, a romantic comedy. The next one I'm going to read is by Julie Buxbaum, and it's called Admission. And this is a kind of a coming-of-age novel and a literary fiction. It's good to be Chloe Wynne Berenger. She's headed off to the college of her dreams. She's going to prom with the boy she's had a crush on since middle school. Her best friend always has her back, and her mom, a B-list celebrity, a Hollywood celebrity, may finally be on her way to the B+ list. It's good to be Chloe Wynne Berenger. At least it was, until the FBI came knocking on her front door, guns at the ready, and her future went up in smoke. Now her mother is under arrest in a massive college admissions bribery scandal. Chloe, too, might be facing charges and even time behind bars. The public is furious, the press is rabid, and the U.S. attorney is out for blood. Admission by Julie Buxbaum. Jerry, just remember, it's not a lie if you believe it. George Costanza, Seinfeld. Chapter 1. Now. My younger sister Isla will claim that she heard the footsteps before the doorbell rang like a swelling movie score. On the count of 3. That she knew then what was to come: the guns, the hard metal handcuffs, the cameras, the headlines, the conversion from human being into meme. That everything being over just like that. I don't believe her. Isla has sworn that she had a dream about an earthquake the night before the big one in Thailand last fall, that she suspected Beyonce was going to drop that surprise album, that 3 years ago she predicted everyone would grow tired of cupcakes and start eating macaroons instead. Which is to say that Isla likes to be the first to know stuff, to take credit for willing into being that which is incapable of being willed. I am always the last to know. Maybe this is the big difference between us, how comfortable we are anticipating that which can't be anticipated, how prepared we are for that which we can't prepare. I'm not ready. The apocalypse shouldn't arrive when you're in flip-flops or wearing sweatpants that have your high school's acronym, WVHS, spread along your backside. At least this wasn't how I'd always pictured the end. I'd expected to need a stash of batteries and a flashlight, canisters of water, none of which would have helped me make this moment any easier. I certainly didn't expect hungry paparazzi with cameras slung around their necks. I hear the doorbell, which triggers a Pavlovian burst of joy. The doorbell usually announces the arrival of something good, cosmetics I ordered from Sephora, a swag box from the studio that my mother will pass on to me and Isla. Less often and less exciting, but still plausible, a script sent in a rush from her agents, which may mean a new shooting location for my mom and a family adventure, Vancouver or Atlanta. Last time, Scotland, once luckily, New Zealand. But it's 6:30 a.m. on a Monday, a school day, too early for UPS, too early for anything really except coffee. It's still dark and foggy, the world cruelly indifferent to the fact that I am not, nor will I ever be, a morning person. When LA has not yet become the city I love, full of glitter and grit, and is instead a sleepy and quiet town. My toenails are painted in alternating cardinal and gold, a detail that will be dissected by the tabloids later. They match my brand new oversized Southern California collared sweatshirt. This last time I will, of course, end up regretting even more than my polish or the letters on my butt, a convenient way for my idiocy to be memorialized. I'll be honest, since there's no other way left to be, there's a whole lot I will end up regretting. But before I swing the door open, I'm still blissfully unaware of what's on the other side. In my uncaffeinated haze, I imagine a cardboard box on the stoop, the teal eyeshadow palette I impulse ordered last night to beta test for prom. Later, when all I have is time, when the hours stretch long and lonely, I will realize this first instinct made no sense at all. I didn't pay for overnight shipping. When the chime fades, there's a hard knock and an "open up," and I wonder, what's the UPS guy's problem? "Coming," I yell back, and then, "Relax, dude." My dog, Fluffernutter, thinks I'm talking to her, and so she lies down at my feet and rolls over to expose her belly. I take a second to give her a quick rub. When I tally my long list of mistakes later, this will not be one of them. Fluffernutter, ever loyal, gave me one more moment of ignorance, an extra second in the before. Another knock, so I scoop up the dog, kiss the top of her curly brown head, and then open the door with a "hold your horses." When we watch this moment on TMZ and then again on CNN and MSNBC, and even for a dark minute on Fox News, my face is blurred because I'm only 17 and still a minor. Afterward, Isla will turn to me and say, "Hold your horses? Really?" And I will shrug like, who cares? Though she would be right, and again, I will be wrong. This will turn out to be another thing that makes me look bad in the court of public opinion, if not a real court one day. Julie Buxbaum, admission. And that's all I have for you for your teen tidbits today for a Triple Play Thursday. I hope you found something you like, and I will see you next time. Bye.